Hello, good evening. It's Friday. It is 7:45. My name is Richard. This is over and over and over again. Of course, it only means one thing. It is the Arsenal Women's Show. Now, the WSL season, it's been a bit of a mixed bag for Arsenal, hasn't it? It finishes, of course, tomorrow, the final weekend of the season. And our business isn't quite done yet, is it? We need a draw at least against Manchester United. So we're going to look obviously ahead to that game. We're going to look back on the WSL campaign, look at some highs and our lows as well from the season. We are going to have to look back, of course, on the defeat at Brighton last weekend. Not great, was it? There's also been some news this week, hasn't there? A few players are leaving the club this summer. That may not be the only ones that leave, but for now, there's a few that have left. So we're going to talk about that as well. So yeah, it's things are quietening down a little bit at the moment, obviously with the season coming soon, but it's a big weekend, the final weekend of the WSL season. Can we get that second place? Wow, it's going to be tight. It's going to be tense, isn't it? But let's have a look at it all, shall we? And of course, joining us live from his hotel room in London is the Lord, of course, Lord Andreas. How are you, my friend? Obviously, you had a safe journey this time.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Yeah, I'm already in London for the game tomorrow, so yeah, I can only hope for a strong Wi-Fi here in my Airbnb, and yeah, looking forward to the show. I think we have a lot to discuss. Not the best things to discuss. The last two games were really embarrassing and disappointing, but well. We are Arsenal fans. We are used to pain and bad results. So let's look forward.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it is the Arsenal way, isn't it? Nothing's ever easy. We never do things the easy way, and
Yeah.
it has been a tough sort of couple of weeks since the semi-final win.
Yeah.
It's not been much fun at the moment, but there's lots to look forward to. Of course, there is, and there always is, isn't there? We've got Josh in the chat. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Ryan says, I don't see us winning tomorrow with Zinsberger in goal. I'm going for 2-2 and scrape over the line in a second. Yeah, we'll talk about the game obviously a little bit later as well. Get your score predictions in. US Blue says, this intro is the same as my alarm. Oh, good. Well, it keeps you awake, my friend. That's what it's all about, isn't it? As long as you stay awake for the show, that's what we want to see. So, yeah, I mean, I suppose, we will have to talk about it. It wasn't much fun, but we are going to have to start the show looking back on, of course, our last game at Brighton last weekend. And, wow, what another really, really difficult game to watch. So, following on from the Villa game, we said on the show last week, that's got to be a one-off, that performance, and it's fair enough. We'd accept a one-off performance like that because we just won a semi-final, but to then repeat it against Brighton on Sunday was just, not really acceptable, even in the circumstances. Rene went back to more of a stronger team, the first 11, if you like, apart from the goalkeeper, which is a problem. We know it's a problem. And we've been saying this for a long time now. And if the last two games haven't convinced even the most, people that, sort of support Manu as strongly, if the last two games haven't convinced you that her days are over, then I don't know what will. And it wasn't just her. It's not just her. It was a poor team performance. Nobody really rose to the challenge. Everybody seemed to be distracted. No one seemed to want to get injured. I thought there was only two players on the pitch for me who really came out of that game with any credit at all. One was Caitlin Ford, who just battled for every single ball. And I thought Mariona had another great game. Again, she doesn't give up. Those two, if everybody had the same attitude as those two had in this game, I don't think we would have lost by the way that we did. But anyway, we did. And ultimately, it comes down to tomorrow. But I mean, Andreas, was you surprised when you saw the team lineup that the performance was just as bad as Aston Villa? In fact, maybe worse in some ways because it was a stronger team.
Yeah, it's not understandable because I think it was, except Daphne, it was the strongest possible team we could line up, and then such a performance. Yeah, when I saw the lineup, I thought we will bring it over the line, we will win. not comfortable because our defense, and we know the problems we spoke about, that the defense line is, yeah, they are not as confident as they are when Daphne is behind them. But anyway, I thought with this lineup, we will manage it. Somehow we will score, or yeah, we have the strong midfield, etc. But as you said, there was nearly no player on normal level. I mean, yeah, we played better than away at Villa, but yeah, we had our chance to score the first goal, but then it was, yeah, a fantastic goal from Frank Kirby. We had a chance to equalize. It was a very good second goal, but anyway, the defense, our defense was weak, and the third goal says everything about our, yeah, about our goalkeeper and our defense in the last two games. You can discuss whether there was an offside for one of their goals or not, but anyway, you can't concede 4 goals in Brighton and 5 goals against Villa. It's 9 goals conceded in 2 games. Uh, with such a performance, with such results, you can't expect to qualify for Champions League. We are lucky that Man City has thrown it away, so we are already qualified. But for, yeah, for tomorrow, I'm not too optimistic. And the problem is that the whole team performed under, very much under normal level. And yeah, it's not only Manu. We'll speak about her, I think, in this show. It's also Katie McCabe, who had 2 terrible games. She was
Yeah.
she was yeah, very, very sloppy and weak in both games. Also, Steph Catley, Leah Williamson, also both very much under their normal level. And our attackers, they had chances, but they don't find the net. And you can't say, oh, uh, we win when we concede 4 or 5 goals. not not with the way how we use our chances. We should have scored 5 goals in Brighton to win. That's impossible. But anyway, I have no explanation why the team is performing so weak. The whole team. What is going on in training? What is going on in their minds? What are they talking about in preparation of the games? Are they only thinking about the final? If we play like we played in the games against Villa and Brighton, then we will concede 7 or 8 goals from Barcelona and will have no chance to be competitive. Terrible performance overall, and yeah, embarrassing results. Of course, the others are laughing about us, and I can understand why Mark Skinner said we are not afraid of Arsenal. No, why should they?
I do feel a little bit as though the last 2 performances, as bad as they've been, and no real, I'll say Villa game, maybe we can excuse it, no real excuse for the Brighton game, but I don't think that's going to really have much impact on the final, because the finals a one-off game, and I don't know, if you look in his history, you've seen teams get to a cup final, and they maybe drop off some league performances before the cup final, and in the cup final they raise their game and win it. I'm not saying we're going to necessarily win it, but I think we'll play at our best level in that final, regardless of what's happened the last couple of games, regardless of what happens tomorrow, because it's a one-off game. And all the preparation, we've got 2 weeks to prepare for it, and all the preparation is going to go into that one game. And I do feel a little bit as though the distraction of that final in the last couple of games has contributed to these sloppy performances. But yeah, the Brighton game for me, I was concerned because some of our top players didn't turn up. They just did not turn up. They were poor. Like you said, Katie McCabe was a terrible game. I thought, their defensive, all the defense really wasn't great. Emily Fox wasn't great to her level. Leah Williamson wasn't great. Steph wasn't great. The midfield got bullied. Brighton were quicker than us to the ball. They were quicker on the pitch, like moving around the pitch. They were quicker. We seemed as though I don't know. I got the feeling watching the game, too many of the players looked as though they were too worried about getting injured and missing the final, so they were pulling out of things, maybe not committing 100%. And at professional football, a professional sport, if you drop your intensity or your level by even like 0.5%, it makes a massive difference. And I think that's what we've done the last 2 games. I think our intensity levels have just dropped a fraction, and that's made a massive difference. And that won't happen in the final because it's the final, and they'll be 100% committed to everything. And that's going to be the difference. But even so, having said that, you know, these 2 performances back to back are worrying in the sense that, you know, if for any reason we make those similar mistakes in the final, we will get, like you said, it could be embarrassing. I personally don't think that's going to happen, but we can't sit here and say it definitely won't because we haven't seen any different in the last week or so, have we? So tomorrow makes it even more important now, doesn't it? Because the good thing is, I suppose, the fact that, you know, we could lose to Brighton and lose to Aston Villa and it's still in our hands at second place. And that's due to the run of results we had prior to that, and also the fact that Man United have dropped a few points in the last couple of games as well. They've had some difficult games, and, you know, they lost to Chelsea, they drew with Man City. So we were quite fortunate that they had those games when they had them, and they didn't have games they could win. It would have, you know, made it more difficult for us. But that's the only silver lining for me, is that the damage hasn't been as bad as it could have been in terms of the league position and stuff like that, you know, because it could have been disastrous losing them 2 games, but it isn't, in the fact that it's still in our hands, isn't it? We get the result tomorrow, we finish second, which we would have only finished second anyway. If we'd beaten Villa, we'd beaten Brighton, we'd still only have finished second. So ultimately, it's not going to make any difference to the end of the season and next season and preparations and stuff. But yes, the performances have been concerning. Certain players' performances have been concerning, and we need to put in a much higher level performance tomorrow. I'm sure we will, because it's a different game. It's at the Emirates. We've got an important job to do to get that point at minimum. So I do think that it will be different. But yeah, the Brighton game, I couldn't get my head around how bad it was, because there didn't seem to be much excuse, because the team was, like you said, pretty much the strongest team, apart from the goalkeeper, which again we're hearing tomorrow. It looks as though Manu will be playing. I think they're wrapping Daphne and Cottonwall, which I said was probably a good idea because we'd need her for the final, and there is another 2 weeks after to get her fit. But I mean, I don't understand what's happened to Manu, because even a year or so ago, year and a half ago, she was actually an all right goalkeeper, wasn't she? She was still a decent goalkeeper. What's gone wrong? Because now it's like she can't move. She doesn't seem to dive for anything. Unless it's shot straight at her, she won't save it. And I don't know. It's a concern, isn't it? How quickly her form's disappeared. So, and this season even more so. Is it because she's lost the number 1 position, do you think?
Yeah, it might be a part. Maybe that she lost the number 1 position. Maybe her private things with having the baby, and her wife and the baby not living in London. This all must have affected her. But anyway, she's a professional athlete, and if she extends her contract, what she did last summer, then she must live with the consequences. And her form has dropped immense. And of course, now after these 2 games, she has 0 confidence, because in her mind, it's like, what I will do wrong. And if there is a shot on my goal, I will probably concede. So I think that's in her mind at the moment. And you could see her after the game. She was nearly crying, and yeah, it's a difficult situation. But over all the years, I always said she's a good goalkeeper, but she's average in WSL level. But now I would say she's maybe the worst goalkeeper in the WSL. You could put in goal any goalkeeper from any team. You saw Brighton. They played their number 2, Sophie Baggerly. She made a fantastic game. They're all at the moment, they're all more confident and stronger and better than Manu is. And what I said last week, I say it again, play Naomi Williams. She can't do worse. If there are 5 shots on goal and she concedes 4, well, that's the performance we get from Manu. It can't be worse. And maybe the problem is Naomi is still too young, has no experience. But anyway, she's playing in the U23 and she's doing a good job. She can't do worse. And she goes would go into a game with the confidence and knowing that everybody trusts her. Manu goes into tomorrow's game with zero confidence. Let the first shot on goal be similar to Frank Kirby's shot. It will be 1-0 United. Let United have a corner in the first 5 minutes. Manu will not save the corner or fist it away or something like that. And if we concede in the first minutes, such a goal, for example, then it's game over for Manu, because her confidence is at the lowest point it could be. What's the reason for everything? I don't know. As I said, maybe it's the personal things around her, but that's, yeah, that's her task as a professional athlete to solve these problems or these surroundings and anything. And for us, it's a real problem. Would I play Daphne tomorrow? I don't know. Probably we rushed her back for the Lyon away game,
Yeah.
and she had probably painkiller injection or something like it. She was not really fit. But this shows also what Renee or the coaching staff think about our goalkeepers. They prefer to play a goalkeeper who is not fit, who needs injections to kill the pain and to play, and they prefer to play her instead of the number two. They have also no trust in our number two, as we fans, I think nobody has trust in our number two at the moment. I read a comment from a supporter who said, if Manu is our number two goalkeeper in the next season, I won't renew my season ticket.
Wow.
Yeah, it's hard. I will renew my season ticket, of course. But if Manu is still our number two, then I think we did something wrong in the transfer window in summer.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's slightly extreme, isn't it, to not renew your season ticket because
Yeah.
your number two goalkeeper's still there. I mean, come on, let's get a bit of perspective. I mean, she's not a great
Yeah.
goalkeeper at the minute, but come on. I mean, Joe's actually made a really good point here. She said Manu is poor, but the ball doesn't magic its way up the field into the net. Now, and that is very true. And obviously, the performance of the players in front of Manu, particularly in the Brighton game and Aston Villa as well, wasn't good enough. And yes, she needed more protection, I agree. But having said that, we've said it before, the goalkeeper's job is when the defence fails, the goalkeeper's job is there to try and stop the ball going in the net. That's all they've got to do.
Yeah.
Technically, that's what their job is. And unfortunately, every single shot that's gone on our goal in the last couple of games, most of them have ended up in the back of the net. So she's not doing her job. Yes, the people in front of her haven't either. I agree, and you're absolutely right. We've been poor, but sometimes you can make mistakes. Outfield players can make mistakes. You can defend poorly, and your goalkeeper makes up for it with saves and stuff like that. And that's what the goalkeeper's there for. It's the last line of defence. That's what the goalkeeper is. And unfortunately, when it all goes wrong in front of us, then Manu isn't going to bail us out of trouble very often, if at all now. So yes, you're absolutely right. The team in front of her need to do better. Certainly with a couple of those goals in particular was really poor defensively, wasn't it? So, and that's not Manu's fault. But then she didn't cover herself in glory with her attempt to try and save them. So it's a bit of both, isn't it? I suppose. Greg says, evening all, depressing times, need overhaul starting with the keeper. Well, yeah, I think we'd all be massively surprised if Manu is still here next season. I think we know she probably won't be. But you're right. I mean, I wouldn't say a mass overhaul's needed, but I do think we're going to come on to that very shortly, actually, because some players are leaving already, we've heard. So there's going to be a bit of an overhaul, I think. Ryan says it was an improvement against Brighton. It was only 4-2. Well, yeah, I suppose it was slightly better. We conceded one goal less, I guess, but it wasn't. It still wasn't good enough, is it? 170 going says, big up to Andreas, indeed, of course. A massive big up to Andreas. Terry's with us. Of course, Terry is always with us. Joe says, Villa and Brighton became Arsenal and Arsenal became Villa and Brighton. Well, yeah, I mean, in previous seasons, we've got those results against Villa and Brighton that they got against us. That's what normally happens, isn't it? So for those two games, we reversed roles. I mean, I did say after the Villa game that if we had swapped goalkeepers, we'd have probably won that game. And against Brighton, you have to say the same because Sophie Begali got player of the match. and quite rightly so, because she made several good saves, didn't she, in that game? And you have to say that if she was in goal for us and Manu was in goal for Brighton, we would have probably won that game with the chances that we had compared to the chances they had. So, but that isn't the way it goes. It wasn't. We had to deal with it, and we didn't, and that was that. Terry says, still there's some good news to come out of this week. New merch, yes, of course. And every time Arsenal lose a game, you can guarantee they'll bring out some new merch to try to make us feel better. It doesn't. I'd rather win the games and not have any new merch, because we've got enough new merch as it is. Joe says, I wonder if there's a deep subconscious fear of getting injured and missing the fight. Yeah, I think so. Plus missing news. I don't know about so much the Euros at the minute. I think the final, definitely. I really, really felt that against Brighton, that players were not 100% committed to that game. Because I don't forget, we've got Leah Williamson's had a serious knee injury in the not too distant past, Beth as well, and it's going to be on their mind, at the back of their mind somewhere. And I said before, if your intensity just drops a fraction in at that level of football, Brighton are a decent team. They've got some good players. You can't afford to have a day off against Brighton, because we saw what happened. They're capable of doing that. Any team in the WSL are, really, or most of them are. So no, I agree. I do think that is definitely true. I don't even know if it's subconscious. I think some of them it maybe is a conscious fault, that they're going into these games thinking, I could be one mistimed tackle or one landing awkwardly once, and I'm out of the biggest game of my career. And I think it is there. I think it is a fault that they've got, understandably, really, but. As you said, Andreas, they're professional footballers. They can't. They're being paid to do the job, and the job is to go out there and play these games and win, and try to win the games. That's what they're paid for. And yes, we've got a big game to come. But if we were to lose tomorrow, finish third, and we don't win the final, we then put ourselves under massive pressure going into next season again. And it's in the position that we've been in, that wouldn't be acceptable for me. And whether you got a cup final or not, forget the cup final. The cup final was 2.5 weeks away. When that game was 3 weeks away. Concentrate on that game, get the result in that game, and then worry about the next game before. You know what I mean? After tomorrow's game, yes, think about the cup final. Do whatever you need to do to prepare yourself for that. Absolutely, 100%. But not before, because you're professional players. You've got, the club is more important. The goals of the club is to get that second place now, isn't it? We've got to do it. And their job is to go out there and make sure that we do. And so far, we've made a bit of a mess of it with these 2 games. Ryan says, got our minds on the new merch, not the game. Yeah, maybe they have. Yeah, they've got some nice new clothes to wear. El Loco says, just praying that DVD makes it for Champions League final. She's clearly carrying an injury. If we start with Zinsberger, we will lose. It's like playing with 10 women. Yeah, but you're right. I mean, I think what's happened is, I think Andreas was right what he said before. They rushed Daphne back for the semi-final because we knew we had pretty much zero chance of turning that around with Manu in goal. And yes, she was probably playing with painkiller injuries. We saw in the game she went down, and we were worried she might have to go off. She managed to get through the game, and obviously since then she's not fit. She's not. She would have played against Brighton if she was fit. She'd play tomorrow if she was fit. She's not fit. And yes, you're right. We've got to pray that she's fit. I would imagine if they manage to get her in the state to be able to play against Lyon, they should be able to get her to be able to play against Barcelona, whether it's injections or whatever it is. Let's hope she doesn't have to do that, because it's not going to be good for her health in the long term, I suppose. But it's the biggest game of their life, isn't it? So, I'm sure she'll be fit. I'm sure she will. But we shall see. Greg says, you talk about meeting after the game, of course. Yeah, tomorrow. I suppose you can all meet. That'd be good, wouldn't it? So let's see. Joe's having a bit of a laugh about that. 170 Gunner says, thoughts on full playing left back next season with a new winger could be a frightened left side. Well, we've bought a left back, didn't we? In Jenna Nicewanger. We've bought a natural left back. So why would we play Caitlin Ford there when she does a good job up the other end of the pitch? And what was the point of bringing Jenna in if we're going to play Caitlin Ford at left back? Seems crazy. I mean, at least Jenna got some minutes against Brighton. I thought she did all right, didn't she, in the second half? Yeah. Jenna, she looked all right, didn't she? Good to see her play, actually, finally, get a bit more minutes, wasn't it?
She did better than Katie McCabe did in the last 2 games. As hard as it is to say this, and no disrespect to Katie McCabe, she was so important during the whole season. But she is one of those players who maybe she was not at her concentration level, not at 100% in the last 2 games. I have no other explanation for her sloppy displays, and Jenna did better. So, yeah, for these games and for next season, I think with Jenna Neiswanger we have a backup for left back. She needs minutes. She needs to play and to feel the trust from the manager and the coaching staff.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's difficult, isn't it? You know, coming over to a different country, settling in to a new style of football as well, a new league, new players around you, new coaches and stuff. So maybe we expected too much from her too quickly. And I don't think playing that first game in midfield that she did against Liverpool in the FA Cup, wasn't it, when she just had a terrible game out of position, really. And I don't think that helped her confidence. I don't think that helped her to establish herself in the team. So that's obviously set her back a little bit as well. But it seems as though she's maybe getting there now. I say the performance against Brighton, I thought she looked good. So that's promising for next season, isn't it? That we've got another good player coming into the team. And yeah, I think that, you know, she did play well. Loco says, Neiswanger should absolutely start tomorrow. She's a classy player and time to start looking beyond Katie McKay for the future. Well, I don't know about that necessarily, but yeah, I definitely feel that tomorrow Jenna should start the game. Yeah, absolutely she should, because I think she deserves that after the way she played last game. Joe says, I thought Neiswanger looked like a decent attacking defender, nice left foot. Yeah, she nearly scored a good goal as well, didn't she? One from outside the box, which the keeper saved, as she saved everything, didn't she, on the day pretty much. But no, you're right. Joe says, I wonder if Manu now dreads getting picked. Well, I don't know about Dreads getting picked. Obviously, her confidence has taken a knock. I'm sure she wants to play and help the team. But I don't know. Let's see what happens tomorrow. I don't want to think too much about that, actually, because it scares me when I think about her being in goal tomorrow when we've got to get a result. I can't remember last time we got a result with Manu in goal. I can't remember. I can't actually think when it was. It would have been a while ago, I would imagine. But anyway, we need to get a result tomorrow. Terry says, to be honest, if you was a manager and Arsenal is safe hands in goal, you're telling your players to shoot. Yeah, of course you are. Yeah, and you know that seems to be what Brighton certainly tried, didn't they? Last week they seemed to try some shots from outside the box and stuff. So yeah, Greg says it gives the opposition a lot of confidence knowing who's in goal for us. Yeah, I think it does at the minute. Absolutely. Joe says, yes, agree, Terry. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. Yeah, absolutely it is. Yeah. El Loco said someone should show Zinsberger the PSG Arsenal match and let us see how a goalkeeper single-handedly won a match. Well, yeah, Donnarumma aside, Arsenal should have won on Wednesday. Well, I don't know. It wasn't just Donnarumma, but he played well, didn't he? That's some of them saves he made were outstanding. So yeah, LG says we know what happened after finishing third and playing in Champions League qualifiers after major tournament. Exactly. This is why it's so important, isn't it? And the last two games, we've made it more difficult for ourselves. Ryan's not very happy about Ford at left back. No, it's not. It wouldn't be my choice. I've got to be honest. We've just bought a left back, so let's use her first of all a bit more. Terry says if we rush DVD back from injury, I think I've heard that before. It's an Arsenal problem. What are our medics playing at? Well, it wasn't our medics' fault she got injured playing for Holland, and we needed her to play. So for that particular game, I think they tried the best they could to get her fit, and she got through the game and we won. And if they have to do the same in the final and get her through the game and we win, I don't really mind. But you know, yeah, I don't think we can blame the medical staff for that. She's got injured. Obviously, it's a more serious injury. I mean, we were told she was out for the season initially. So the fact that she even played against Lyon, I think that's credit to the medical staff for managing to get her in the position that she could play. And actually, she played pretty well in that game. So, you know, I think they maybe deserve credit for that. One somebody else says, I don't think Neiswanger was good enough. How do we know? How do we know if she's hardly played? You know, she's played what? She started one game in a different position. She's come on for a few minutes in the other games, and obviously she played a second half on Sunday and played all right. So it's too early to judge whether she's good enough or not. You might be right. It might prove she isn't. But at the moment, we don't know. Let's give her some time. Let's let her play some games, and then we can decide if she's good enough or not. The fact that we've brought her in, someone at the club thinks she's good enough. Whoever decided, whether it was Rene who wanted to buy her, whether it was Claire Wheatley or someone behind the scenes, I don't know, but someone thinks she's good enough. So let's give her a chance. And And let's see. Greg says Ford and Martinelli are very similar players. They're good, but try to do too much before trying to cross. Well, yeah, sometimes I kind of agree with that to a certain extent. I do like Caitlin Ford, and I think she's had a good season actually.
Yeah.
She works hard, and she's a battler, and she gives everything. And I kind of like that. Yeah, sometimes her quality isn't always the best. I agree. She doesn't always make the right decisions in the final third. Sometimes she'll shoot when she should pop. A bit like Frida Marnham. She doesn't always make those right decisions, but her work rate is phenomenal. And I think she's had a really good season. I would play her in the final. I think she deserves it because I think she's been great. But yeah, to a certain point, I can see the similarity with Martinelli. I think Martinelli's a bit more of a headless chicken for me. He gets his head down, he runs fast, and then doesn't seem to know what he's doing half the time. I think at least Caitlin Ford's got a little bit more of an idea of what she needs to be doing, and she does pull it off quite a lot, score some great goals and stuff like that. So it's maybe a little bit unfair on Caitlin Ford, although I can see the similarities that you are alluding to. Joe says she played fully against Crystal Palace and she played very well in that four. Oh, she did play. You're right. She did play against Crystal Palace. Yes, you're right. I forgot about that one. And yeah, she did play pretty well in that game as well. So yeah, she deserves more time. That's the fact of the matter, isn't it? 110 Volt says, what are our chances of signing Kelly for next season? Well, hopefully they'll be good, but let's see. I don't know. Contract's up, so it's just whether or not we can do a deal, and whether or not she wants to stay, I suppose. Because Man City won't have much choice in the matter because she's out of contract, so they won't be able to stop her. If she wants to sign for us, she will. Now, of course, this week, or well, just yesterday, actually, wasn't it? The club announced a lot of departures, or well, a few departures. I think this is the start of the departures. I don't think this is the end of it. So let's have a little chat about obviously the players that's leaving and who else might be following. Now, that's the one, Taya Goldie there. That's the one that's maybe surprised me the most in actual fact, because I think she's had a great season for London City Lionesses. She's helped them get promoted to the WSL. Yeah. She had an absolutely amazing game when we played them in the FA Cup. She was player of the match by a mile. And then we're playing Steph Catley at centre-back, who's naturally a left-back. And you've got Taya Goldie, who was our player, playing outstanding at centre-back. Surely it would have been worth keeping her, giving her a contract and getting her into that first team squad for next season as an option. Yes, maybe they're looking at it thinking, well, we've got Katie Reid who's coming through. We've got Lotta Ruben-Moy is going to be fit. Obviously, Steph's been playing there. We've got Leah Williamson. We've got Leah Cadena. We've got an overabundance of centre-backs maybe. And is that the reason? I don't know. But for me, Taya Goldie is good enough to be in the squad. With our squad. If she's going to end up going somewhere else, another WSL team will snap her up. Absolutely guarantee they will. Or she might stay at London City Lionesses, who of course will be a WSL team. I don't know. I find that one, I'm a little bit upset about that one because I think Taya Goldie had a great future. Oh, she has got a great future in the game, and she should have been with us. She's an Arsenal fan. She's come through the ranks, all that kind of stuff. She could have been another Leah Williamson, another Katie Reid, and I don't know what the reasons are. Did she get offered a contract, turn it down? Did they not offer her one? I mean, it seems that's the one that's really upset me a bit, actually. I mean, how do you feel about that, Andreas? Because she looks a good player, doesn't she? Really good.
Yeah, she had a very good season for London City, and yeah, she is very talented and still very young. I think she's 20 years young, but yeah, it's difficult. We have a lot of centre backs, and probably the thought of manager and coaching staff is we have Leah Williamson and Lotta Ruben-Moy, and then Katie Reid is upcoming, and Leah Codina seems to be still under contract, and Steph Catley is first choice from Renee this season. So if we bring Taya Goldie back, she would start as a bench player. Then the question is, what did Taya think about this? Was she willing to come back to Arsenal and fight for a starting spot, or accept to be on the bench in the first games, first weeks? I don't know. When London City won the promotion against Birmingham, I was thinking this might mean Taya will stay at London City. Now, she was subbed off at halftime with a knee injury. You don't know what or how serious this is. I have not read that London City made a statement. If she tore her ACL again, then maybe the career is over. It would be the third time. It's difficult. Yeah, she's talented, young, and I would love to see her back in our squad, but not as a starter or as a player in the starting 11. And yeah, therefore, it's understandable our decision, or if it was her decision to turn an offer down, it's understandable. She wants to play, and hopefully she will be fit for the new season again, and then she will play for, I think, London City. And yeah, that means she will be a starter in the WSL. Yeah, maybe in 2 or 3 years we will say, oh, we need a new center back. There is a very good one at London City. Let's buy her. Maybe. We don't know. Yeah. But yeah, as I said, we have a lot of center backs, and we have this upcoming talent, Katie Reed. I think she's as good as Taya was at this age or is. And yeah, maybe the decision was to trust more in Katie Reed. And yeah, but anyway, it's sad to see her leave.
It is, yeah. I think it's particularly. I suppose it feels worse when it's one of our players that's come through our system and stuff like that, and we know that she's got the ability to go on and have a great career. And yes, so obviously we wish her all the best. And yeah, if it is, hopefully it's not a serious injury, and you know it should be back playing and it'll be fine. But yeah, I was a little bit sort of surprised by that, and a little bit sort of angry a little bit, because I think she had a big future at the club. But anyway, good luck to her for the future. And if it's at London City like this or wherever, I'm sure she'll have a great career, and I'm sure she'll be in the England setup at some stage in the future as well. Of course, the two other players that were announced was not really a surprise at all, was it? Lena Hurtig, of course, who's barely played since she's been here. I mean, what on earth has gone on there? I do not know. Obviously, injuries. She's had a few issues in her private life by the sound of it as well. And yeah, that just never worked out from day one, did it? It's one of them signings that I think we just have to put to one side and say it just didn't work out. And, you know, it happens. And again, you know, we wish her well for the rest of her career, but it just didn't. You know, she showed glimpses, got a couple of good goals. I mean, she's got a couple of goals this season. That the winner against Juventus, of course, was a highlight for her, wasn't it? Last minute goal at the Emirates. But overall, yeah, very, very disappointing signing she proved to be. And I suppose Amanda as well, you know, we signed her on the back of the great World Cup that she had. And I think we had high expectations that she would go on and have a, you know, again, she had some good moments, didn't she? I remember the goal against Chelsea that she scored. And, you know, I think we bought her as a replacement for Raffaele, who, of course, left that summer, and you could see, you know, the threat from set pieces and stuff. Again, you know, obviously she got pregnant and was out for a long time, and you know she's never really got back fully in the team again since, which is understandable. So those two, not really a surprise, are they? I think we kind of expected that was going to happen. I think they were two of the ones on the list that we'd have said probably not going to be signing a new contract. So I'm not surprised about that. I mean, and good luck to them. It's just, you know, it's just the two Swedish players, funnily enough, that going, which I don't suppose that's necessarily relevant. But anyway, Nadra says Beth is out of contract. She will leave. Well, she might do. She might be one of the next ones that goes. I don't know. I mean, nothing would be announced about that till the end of the season now anyway, because I'm sure she's going to play at some part of the game tomorrow and in the final. But yeah, I wouldn't be. Do you think Beth will leave?
Right now, I would say yes. It's nothing special, but it's just a feeling I have, and I think we are trying to sign Chloe Kelly, and that's that's a sign for Beth that she's not first choice. Maybe she's not far away, but at the moment it looks as if Renee has both available, Chloe and Beth, she will decide for Chloe. And Beth is, she's such an experienced player. She realizes this, and maybe this will influence her. And I think she could leave. Of course, they didn't announce it because today is her birthday. So they wouldn't announce she's leaving the day before or on her birthday, and then probably they will wait until the Champions League final. The other two announcements, Amanda and Lena, yeah, I expected both to leave, and it's pity that it didn't really work out for both of them. I mean, without Lena's goal against Juve, we wouldn't have won our group in Champions League. So we have to thank her a lot for at least for this one goal. But anyway, she has a lot of potential, but she was never able to show this because injuries or private problems. And yeah, she was available 2 or 3 games in a row and then out for 3 months. That's not a player with whom you can work. And Amanda, I think the expectations were too high from most of you. Even you, Richard, expected a lot from her. And I remember that when we signed her, I said, I know her from Bayern Munich. She's good. She's a good centre back, but not more. And she overperformed at the World Cup, yeah, because of the 4 goals she scored. And everybody said, "Oh, what a player! Even scoring goals." And I said, I remember that she's only average, only good, and yeah, she proved this. Of course, then the pregnancy, and she was not available for most of this season. When she came back, it was Leah and Steph as first choice. Pity, yeah, 2 good Swedish internationals, but it didn't really work out for both of them. And yeah, let's wish them luck and all the best for the future. Lena has 2 children with her wife, so it's probably family first for her. I think she will return to Sweden. And Amanda, also a child now, 32 years old. Yeah, all the best for both of them, but were logical decisions not to offer new contracts to both.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, in a way, I suppose when you look at it, there were maybe slightly strange signings anyway. Obviously, Amanda because of her age, but yeah, on the back of that World Cup, I agree. We expected a lot more from her, maybe just based on that World Cup performance. I mean, she was nominated for the Ballon d'Or on the back of that, wasn't she? So I think everyone had high expectations for her. But when you look at it, maybe neither of those 2 signings were maybe the sort of players that we would have expected to bring in. I mean, I remember watching Lena Hurtig play in the Euros in 2022. We saw a couple of Sweden games live, and she didn't overly impress me. I've got to be honest. In fact, I remember saying to Paula at the games, I knew we were signing her because it had already been mentioned at that point. And I remember saying to Paula at one of the games when we were watching Sweden, it's like, I've not been that impressed with her. And I thought, well, let's wait and see what she does when she's there. But it never worked out. And unfortunately, that does happen, doesn't it? Some players just don't fit in at certain clubs and whatever, it doesn't work. So, but like you said, she's an international footballer. She's a good player, obviously, just not quite for us. And the injuries obviously didn't help and one thing and another. But yeah. And as I said before, we mentioned Beth. I think there could be 1 or 2 others on the way out as well, or not offered a new contract is more the issue. I mean, Ryan says, not sure about selling Mead. If she wanted to go, that would be a different story. But it's not a matter of selling her. She's out of contract. So either we're going to not give her a contract and she'll be free to leave, or we'll offer her a contract and she accepts or turns it down, and then she's free to leave then as well, isn't she? So it's not so much, we can't sell her as such. It's just, are we going to offer a new contract? Does she want a new contract? Or not? I've got the feeling. My gut feeling is that she'll leave. Yeah, I agree. I think, especially if we do sign Chloe Kelly on a permanent deal, then as you rightly said, Andreas, she's going to be more of the first choice in that position going forward if we sign her. So it would mean Beth will be on the bench a lot more and stuff like that. Whereas she probably feels, and maybe rightly so, that she should be a start. She should be a start in the WSL, and if it means she has to go somewhere else, then that may be the decision that she makes. And I wouldn't be surprised if she does leave. But let's wait and see. Obviously, you want to keep as many good players as you can, and she's still a very good player. She still scored 11, 12 goals this season for us. She's still a good player. But yeah, let's see what happens with that one. Terry says, I hope Rene is on that list with Arteta. Well, no, I mean, I think Rene Rene deserves more time. I agree with you about Arteta, though. We know that. Joe says, I think London City Lionesses will sign. I'll be surprised if they don't. Yeah, potentially. Well, they'll have to. Yeah, they just have to offer a deal, I suppose, and she needs to accept it. But yeah, it seems more likely that she will go there. El Loco says Lena Hurting's departure can only mean Michelle Agamang is taking her spot. She's ready to start for us and reminds me a lot of Bunny Shaw. Yeah, she's got a lot of Bunny Shaw characteristics. I agree. She's a bit more raw, I suppose, because she lacks that experience. But yeah, I'm sure Michelle Agamang will be in the squad next season. Whether she's a starter or not, I'm not sure. Yeah. But yeah, I would imagine she'll be in the squad, getting minutes, making an impact in games, and yeah, pushing on from there. And yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe getting Lena Hurtig out of the squad is a way to get Michelle in. But you know, I said there might be a few others leaving, yeah, and hopefully a few more coming in as well. So Nezra said there, please, Gunners, keep Beth Mead. Well, let's see. I mean, we may well offer a deal to stay. It's just whether she wants to. Maybe it might come down to that, mightn't it? Ryan says, yes, Adjaman should be good for the future. I think so, yeah. Greg says, I hope she's not like Bunny Shaw. She can't score against decent sides. She only scores against teams not in the top four. Yeah, she stat pads her stuff by scoring 5 or 6 goals against Crystal Palace, and then she doesn't score in the big games. But yeah, I'm sure Michelle will be better than that, actually. Terry says, Arsenal in big trouble thanks to Arteta. Berta's first job is clearing all the deadwood out of the club. I can't see many big signings coming in. Well, no, for the men's team, will be totally different. I think we'll see what happens. Greg says it's going to be the problem. They're going to concentrate on the men's team at the detriment of the women. Well, that does worry me, actually. I've got to be honest. You know, we've got this new director of football who seems his main aim is to focus on the men's team. And does that mean the women's team is going to get neglected? I don't know. I'm hoping not, because there's no reason why we can't build both teams together and, you know, do the right thing. But yeah, we'll have to see how that plays out, won't we? I mean, obviously, Berta's not come in to really do much for the women's team, has he? He's come in to focus on the men's team, absolutely. That's what his main job is. But let's see how that plays out. I mean, before, the women's team didn't really suffer because of the men's team trying to build, so hopefully it won't happen now. You know, we're in a strong position. We're in the Champions League final. You know, we could finish second in the league tomorrow. So we're in a strong position, aren't we? The women's team are to say to the club, look, you know, look what we're doing. Look at the crowds we're getting. Look at the success we're having. You know, we shouldn't be missed out. We need investment. We need to grow, to help to grow, because look where we are. LG says Beth is boring and uninspiring time ago. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say boring and uninspiring. I think she's not had her greatest ever season. There's no doubt about that. But I still think she's had moments. She's scored some good goals. She's a threat. She's always, she works hard, and but if she goes, I can understand it from both sides. If we don't offer a deal, I'll understand why. If she turns a deal down that we do offer, I'd understand that as well. So, and if she stays, then great. She might be on the bench a lot more next season. That's all. So there we go. Joe says, crikey, if Beth leaves, the Beth groupies will have a meltdown. Yeah, Viv, Mead and Mona did for Joe. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, and I think that I don't know necessarily whether there's quite the same. Yes, obviously Beth's a popular player. I mean, I love Beth Mead, and she's a popular player. There's no doubt. I don't think she hasn't quite got that same that Viv had. That same kind of feelings from the fans that Viv had. I don't think, but yeah, I mean, I think there'll be a lot of fans that would be unhappy if Beth goes. But if it's Beth's decision, the club can't be held responsible, can they? You could say the club was slightly responsible for Viv leaving because we had the choice of getting Mariona or keeping Viv, and we made the choice of Mariona, which was a club decision. So that's sort of understandable. But I think in Beth's case, it's more likely to be Beth that instigates leaving, not the club, in which case you can't blame the club, can you? And yes, there'll be certain fans that won't be very happy, but, that'll be Beth's decision, and you've got to support her decision, if whatever it is, whether it's to stay or to go. Greg says, Beth was good in the past, but since her injury, she's never really got her form back. No, not on a consistent level. I agree. Absolutely not. She hasn't. No. And it's difficult, isn't it? When you're an attacking player that relies on, that kind of explosiveness in your game, and you lose a little bit of that because of an injury, it's going to affect the way you play. And I think it has done. She'll admit it herself, I'm sure. She's never been quite the same since her injury. I thought before her injury, she was pretty much the best player in the world at that point. She was a player of the tournament in the Euros, top scorer in the Euros. She was flying. But yeah, since the injury, my concern was always, could she get back to that level? And she hasn't. But she's probably not going to now either, is she? Because obviously she's getting older. She's another year older. A year older today. Happy birthday, Beth, by the way, as you said, Andrew, it's her birthday, indeed. But yeah, you're right, obviously. Vicky says, only leavers not involved in the final games will be announced now. To do otherwise will be poor mode. Absolutely, yeah, no, of course, yeah, you're right. So, I don't think anything will be announced about Beth or anyone else until after the Champions League final. Like you said, yeah, that's absolutely right. Jules says there, but have Rosa Kafaji and not used. Yeah, no, absolutely. She hasn't been used. And I do think there's a few issues with Rosa in terms of maybe attitude off the pitch and stuff like that. I get a feeling that maybe there's a few issues there that need to be sorted out before she can start getting more minutes. I mean, what have you made of that, Andrea? Because obviously she came in with quite a lot of people had a lot of high hopes for her, a young player coming in, and she's shown one or two glimpses. But when she has played, I don't think she's been good enough, has she, in the game that she's played?
I would say she never got a real chance to prove it. To prove your quality, you have to start a few games in a row, and she was only a sub, used as a sub for 20 minutes for half time or so. She never really got a chance, and then maybe there were some personal issues with her attitude or something like that. She was disappointed not to get more minutes, and she said it too loud that she's disappointed. And anyway, she was very good at Hacken, and she made very good performances for the Swedish national team, although she's very young. So I agree. I had high hopes and high expectations in her too. I think she might go on loan next season. It's a similar situation like Catherine Kuhl, and maybe this loan will help her to settle in on the level of WSL football. I don't know. I still think she's a very talented and very good prospect, and we should keep her. And for the other question you were discussing with Beth and Chloe, my prediction is next season one of them will be Arsenal player and one of them will be United player. Chloe or Beth. Just a prediction at this moment. Could happen.
Well, no, it absolutely could happen. Yeah, it absolutely could happen. You're right. I mean, maybe whether Man United in the Champions League might play a part in that. As you says there, must go Beth Mead, Williamson, Marnham, and Binu. But I don't know about Williamson. I mean, I think I would keep Frida Marnham as well. I mean, I'll keep Beth Mead if we can, and build younger players in the squad as well. But if Beth Mead goes, she goes. Williamson, no way, come on, man. She's going to be the new captain. We don't get rid of Leah Williamson. LG says, I don't see her, Beth Mead, starting for City, but a move to Manchester United is on the cards for Beth, considering she's also a Man U fan. Yeah, well, maybe Andreas was right what he said. Maybe Beth will go to Man United and Chloe will sign for us. I think if that happened, I wouldn't be that disappointed, actually, because I do think at this moment in time, Chloe Kelly's probably in better form than Beth. She's probably got more to come. Beth may be on her way down in her career now, and I think Chloe's still got more to give. So I think that would be a good. If we swap them one for the other, I would be quite happy if we keep Chloe and Beth was to go. If we had to make that choice, so it wouldn't be the end of the world for me. India Mastiff says need to reinforce defence. Want replacement for Leah and McCabe. Well, we've kind of got a replacement for Katie McCabe. If you think about Jenna Nicewonger. I don't know why has everyone got a problem with Leah Williamson? What's going on? I don't understand that. I think Leah Williamson's still fantastic. But anyway, LG's going to upset me now. He says Stina should also hit the exit. I mean, to be honest with you, I actually think when she's played recently, I think she's played really well. When she's come on, she's played well. A couple of games she started recently, she's played well. But I don't want to see her stuck on the bench again for another season. She was stuck on the bench most of last season. She's been stuck on the bench this season. And if by leaving it means she's going to play regular football again, then that would be a good move for her. As much as I want her to stay, it's not. If she's only going to be used sparingly again next season, it's a waste of her time. She's a much better player than to be stuck on the bench. So, yeah, I'd be a little bit upset if she goes. But if it's to play regular football, then I totally agree that would be a good decision for her career, because that's what it's about. At the end of the day, we can't be selfish and think, well, we like this player, we want them to stay. If it's about their career, isn't it? And I think Stina probably, unless she's guaranteed some more minutes next season, why would you want to stay? She loves it at the club, obviously, she's happy, but I don't know. You need to be playing more football, don't you? I think she might play tomorrow, actually, because I've seen Leslie Russo's got a bit of an injury, hasn't she? And we don't want to risk that for what's coming. So maybe she might play tomorrow, Stina. Matthew says we need a stat padder for the last 2 games. Well, yeah. Well, we did, yeah, but we didn't have one, did we? So we didn't get it. India Mastiff says need a big clear out squad too. Well, no, the squad's getting old. I agree. Jules kind of agrees. Well, team is old. Agreed. Sell Williamson, Mead, McKay. Well, I don't know. We do need some younger players in there, definitely. One somebody kind of says Beth has lost her pace. Yeah, she's lost a little bit of pace. She's lost a little bit of everything, really, hasn't she? Unfortunately. Vicky says lots of chat about clearing out players. Who do we want to join us? Well, that's a very good question, actually. Who do we want to join? I mean, we're gonna, if all these players leave that we're saying are going to leave, we are going to need new blood in, aren't we? Younger players as well. I think it's got to be a priority. But who do we want to join? I mean, is there anyone in particular, Andreas, that you would be really keen for us to sign for next season?
There was a lot of noise around this American holding midfielder, Sam Coffey. I think this would be a good option for us. She's, I think, 23, 24. Yeah, we need to be younger in our squad, and we have the problem with Wally and Kim as a holding midfielder, both in her 30s. So this would be a player I would go for. And today, Svendis Jonsdottir from Wolfsburg, the winger, announced that she will leave Wolfsburg. This would be a winger I would go for. She has a lot of pace and never really got a chance to prove herself in Wolfsburg. We know her throw-ins are a weapon, and I think she's 23, and this would also be a player I would go for. As a center back, I have no idea. I think we should go for a good center back. If we still play Steph Catlin next season as our first choice center back together with Leo Williamson, then I would also say we had a bad transfer window. But to be honest, I have no exact name as a young center back. Difficult to say. But yeah, these are a few ideas. I think, very, very important is to get a younger winger with a lot of pace. And Sophia Smith from Liverpool is also a name I would go for, or Shakira Martinez from West Ham.
She's the one I want.
Young players who could develop in a really good team, and playing international football would be important for them. So let's see. There are a few names, but we have to do good business in summer.
Yeah, we do, and I'm kind of a little bit frustrated with Arsenal in the fact that quite often we don't sign the ready-made player. Okay, Mariona being the exception, the world-class players. We don't sign many players like that, do we? We generally sign players, Rosa Kafaji being an example of that, a player that may have potential, or maybe, if you're looking back to the Amanda Illerstadt signing, a player who's at the wrong end of their career. We don't tend to sign the top players at their peak, do we? Very often, I say Mariona, you could say, as she passed her peak, I don't know, but she's been fantastic. But I'd like to see us sign a few more players, or at least one or two more players of that kind of quality, coming in to the straight away into the team. And yes, we need to fill the squad out as well with some younger players. Centre back is an issue. We've just got rid of 2 centre backs. So we are short there now. technically, I suppose. Although Katie Reid can step in, she's an option there, and I think next season she'll play more. Leah Cadena will probably play more next season, so I don't know whether we need to rush into that position. I don't know, but I think midfield needs freshening up a little bit. Vicky Palova is going to be back next season, a little more, play more minutes, more games. That's a positive, but yeah, I think we need 3 or 4 players, don't we, in the summer? I think at least quality players to come in and give everyone a boost, because I think the squad is too old now. We must have one of the oldest squads in the WSL, and some players have been here for a very long time. And maybe it's time to say, right, we do need to start refreshing everything, and we need to start that quite quickly, because everybody else is making those kind of moves, and we don't want to be left behind. We've had a decent season. We've done really well to get to the Champions League final, but we need to take that next step now, don't we? We need to start putting a better challenge in for Chelsea for the league, and we need to obviously be winning the big trophies, which we've not done for quite a while. A couple of Continental Cups in the meantime have been nice, but we should be looking at more than that, shouldn't we, quite honestly? And that's where we need to look at how we can do that for next season, have a plan in place, get the players in that we need, and build something that can be sustainable, because this current squad isn't sustainable for much longer, is it? Because of the age of the players. So we need to start doing that now before it's too late. Joe says, this is a problem of women's teams being dependent on the men's team. And why personally I don't have a problem with Michelle Kang being more independent. It's the way forward for the women's game. Yeah, you're probably right, actually, because there's so much money in the men's game, and it's tied up in the big transfer fees and the big wages, and the club's only got so much of a budget to go round for the women's teams as well, and maybe could be a problem. So yeah, maybe the women's teams being more independent of the men's teams might actually be the better way to go. Once the money's there to generate, at the minute there's not enough money in the women's team on its own to be sustainable away from the club, the men's team, is it? It's just not possible. But we need to get in a position where maybe we can do that in the future with sponsorships, with turnstile monies and all this kind of stuff, and maybe that's the way forward. But it's going to take time, and at the minute we need to use the men's club as much as we can to get to be in that position, to then be able to become more independent. And that will probably be the future. It'll still be one club. We'll still play at the Emirates, this and the other. But in terms of finances, if we've got to rely on the drip feed from the men's team, it's maybe not going to give us enough to grow quickly enough, maybe. But let's see what happens. At the end of the day, we can only hope that the club do it right, because the women's team is so important, more important now than they've probably ever been before in the history of the club. So we need to, the club need to make sure that they do it right now going forward, invest in it in the right way, and make sure that we can grow, because we have to. India Mastiff says, do you think Leah is up for the job? She's one of the highest paid in football, but feels she's always picking herself off the ground. Well, yeah, she does seem as though she is always picking herself up off the ground. I agree, but I do think she is definitely capable of the job. Absolutely, 100% she is. So she's not on the list for me to even think about replacing or getting rid of. There's a few more well ahead of her. Ryan says, is Kafaji the new Lena Hurtig? Hardly ever seen. Well, maybe. She might end up being the new Lena. Let's hope not. 170 says, Russo is a good striker, but would like to see a player with more power and speed like De Mornay. Well, yeah, I don't think we'll sign a player like that, but yeah, I kind of get where you're coming from. Vicky says, is multi-team ownership by billionaires good for the game? Well,
no.
Is the short answer no? It's not, is it? Let's be honest. But it's not going to change, is it? Because the fact that the first word there, billionaires, that's the key, isn't it? All clubs want a billionaire owner, and they're not going to turn it down, are they? No one will. So it's how the money's used and stuff like that. I don't know. There's a lot of problems in football. Certainly when it comes to the financial side of things, there's a lot of problems, and it's not really going to be solved because greed has taken over, hasn't it? Everybody wants more. I mean, we're talking about now, aren't we, which players we're going to buy. Well, players aren't free, are they? You have to pay them a wage and this, that, and the other. So, we want the club to spend money. So we're part of it. We're part of the issue, aren't we, really? We should just say, no, don't spend any money. It's fine. But we want the club to grow. If you want to compete, you've got to do it, haven't you? I mean, the owner thing's quite interesting. I don't think our owner is necessarily good for our club, but what can we do to change it, though, Andreas? Because it's the way it is now in modern football, isn't it?
Yeah, the first thing is Michelle Kang. She has a lot of money, and she invests the money in women's sports, and especially in women's football. That's good, but this multiple ownership, that's not good for the football. She owns Lyon, Washington Spirit, and London City Lionesses. So what she did in the last years was she transferred, or no, she hired the Paris Saint-Germain manager for London City Lionesses. That weakens the biggest or the only opponent for Lyon in the National League. And then she hired the Barcelona manager for Washington Spirit. And that weakens the opponent in the Champions League for Lyon, Barcelona. So what will she do when she's competing for the Champions League with two clubs, with London City and Lyon? Would she transfer players from here to there, or yeah, and what will happen? What will the UEFA say if both teams qualify for the Champions League? Then Michel Kang could decide, oh, they're playing against each other. This team needs the win. Yeah, I I tell the manager not to play the strongest team against Lyon, or the strongest Lyon team against London City. That's a problem. Maybe it's not the problem at the moment and not for the next 1 or 2 seasons, but it's generally a problem with this multiple ownership, though. So therefore, I don't like this. As much money she invests, and that's good. But another thing I would like to say, you can't say um, a team depending on the men's team, that's a bad situation. Look at Chelsea. The men's team from Chelsea was not very successful, to say that the least, in the last seasons. They finished 8th or 10th position, not qualifying for the Champions League. And Todd Bowley, this American billionaire, he invested a lot of money for the women because they were successful, and he only wants success. It's for this owner, it's not important. It's the men's team, the women's team. No, he wants to win trophies. If it's the women's team who wins trophies, okay, then there you have a few millions for the next transfer window. So you can't say it's the dependence on the men's team is bad. It depends on the owner and on the club. And this Chelsea owner, Todd Bowley, I have a story just to tell. He met at an event. He met Ruud Gullit. We all know Gullit from the Netherlands. He was one of the best players in his time, and he also played for Chelsea and was manager for Chelsea. And they met on an event, and Gullit said hello to Todd Bowley, and Bowley said, "Sorry, who are you?" I'm Ruud Gullit. Okay. And what are you doing? I was a professional footballer. I played for Chelsea too, and I was the manager of the team. Very interesting. So this shows his ignorance, and that he knows nothing about the history of the club. It's only the success at the moment that counts for him, and he throws millions after millions on the team who performs better. So you can't say the Kang situation is the solution for women's football, or the ownership for a billionaire like Bowley is the solution. No, let's hope our owners are looking at both teams, men and women, and say we are paving the way in women's football with the attendance, with our supporter situation, and we must return to successful times, because we were the most successful women's team in England, in Europe. Not the most, but a successful team in Europe, and the most successful in England, and we must return to this. Let's hope they invest in the women's team too.
Yeah, we have to. Quite honestly, we have to, because we're on the brink, aren't we? At the minute, we're not quite up to Chelsea's level. we're going to see in the Champions League final if we're up to Barcelona's level. But we're not far away from being really successful. But it's going to take investment. It's the only thing that works these days, isn't it, in football? Let's be honest. But there you go. So yeah, a few players leaving, a few more will leave, no doubt, as well, before too long, and more will come in. Of course they will, because it's the summer transfer window coming up, and that's what happens. So we look forward to all of that, obviously, once the season's finished. But before the season finishes, we've got a very, very, very important game tomorrow, of course. Second place is on the line. Now, second place might not seem much to anybody, but in the women's game, it's very, very important, because it means we get a slightly easier route back to the Champions League if we don't beat Barcelona, which we can't guarantee we will, unfortunately. But tomorrow is a big game, so it's it's quite honestly, it's one we can't afford to lose. So it's pretty much the only game tomorrow with anything riding on it in the league, isn't it? You know, everything else is decided. Chelsea have won the league. Crystal Palace have been relegated. The only thing that can be decided now is who comes second and who comes third. And that is obviously on that game tomorrow. Now, as we said before, we only need a draw, because we are 2 points ahead of Manchester United going into the game. A draw will do us. But we know the last two results have been bad. We did lose our last game at the Emirates as well against Lyon in the first leg, so that doesn't bode well, although I think we'd won the previous 5 or 6 or 7, whatever it was, at the Emirates before that, so we've been in good form at the Emirates generally. It's going to be a big crowd, of course it is. It's a big game. It's such an important game as well. Don't let anybody fool you into thinking it doesn't matter because we've got Champions League anyway, because the lowest we can finish is third. It does matter because it means we get out of that ridiculous qualifying competition. Okay, we might beat Barcelona anyway, and it doesn't matter because we're qualified as winners. But let's not rely on that. Let's get the job done tomorrow, and I think it's a massively important game to make sure that we don't lose. And yes, we've got concerns over the goalkeeping situation, but I think with the Emirates, with the crowd, with the importance of the game, I think everybody will be much more focused on the game tomorrow than we have been in the last couple of games. We've got to hope that's the case, but I'm sure it will be. I mean, Andreas, obviously you're going to be at the Emirates, of course. I mean, must be looking forward to the game because it's going to be good. How do you see it playing out? Because Man U basically have to win, and that might help us a little bit because they can't afford to sit back and play for a draw. At some point, they're going to have to try and win that game because they have to, don't they? So it might help us in that sense. But obviously, if they attack, put shots in, and Manu's in goal, who knows what might happen? I mean, how are you expecting the game to play out? Because we need to put these last two performances behind us and show that we're a very, very good team, because we are a very good team, but we need to show it again, don't we?
Yeah, and the funny thing is, the situation for both teams is nearly the same. We have both 2 finals to come. Our game against United is like a final for the second place, and then the Champions League final. And United has the final at the Emirates, and then a week later the final against Chelsea for the FA Cup. It's a similar situation for both teams, playing for everything. And the second place is so important. And yeah, that's. If I was the manager, I would say this. First, it's a final. We are playing against United. And remember, Champions League, this mini tournament. Okay, this season we came through against Rangers and Rosenborg. But the year before, remember what happened. We played the mini tournament after being in the semi-final the season before, a few months before, and then we were out after the first qualification round, and the whole Champions League was without Arsenal. This can't get a repeat, and therefore the second place is so important. And yeah, consider it as a final. And you can't go out in this game and say, a draw is enough, let's play for a draw. And we start with 0-0, everything is okay, we only have to keep the 0-0. No. United has to attack. They want to win this final because then they are finishing second. And to be honest, nobody expected United to finish second in the league. We would say City or Arsenal are the teams to compete with Chelsea for the title and not United. So for them, it's a big chance. And they have they have the FA Cup final a week later, so they will throw everything in to go to Wembley with self-confidence and with knowing we finished second in the league. We are the second best team in the league. So it's all to play for, also for United. And the plus for them is they have probably the best goalkeeper in the league in this season, Fallon Tullis-Joyce. She was outstanding in her first real season. The year before, she was only on the bench as Mary Earps was playing, but this season she was outstanding and very, very strong. And the defense from United with Maya Letizia, etc., is very good. They have Grace Clinton, another player we should go for if possible. Ella Toon. Yeah, it's a difficult situation for us, and we can't go for a draw. Let's go out to win this game and attack. We are playing at home. And as you said, we scored 4 or 5 goals in every home game through the last month. So let's go out and try to win this game and gain a self-confidence for the Champions League final. If we lose against United, then it's 3 in a row. And how would we go in a Champions League final knowing that we lost the last 3 league games? Oh, please not. Yeah, I expect a very good crowd and hopefully a very good game from both teams, as it's, yeah, as I said, it's a final for the second place.
So what is your score prediction?
During the week, I was discussing this with Amar, and I said it will be 4-2 for United, because they will have 5 shots on goal, and this means they score at least four times. And we will have 10 shots on goal and 70% ball possession, and this means we are going to lose. But yeah, my prediction is 4-2 for United, but I'm praying and hoping that we will win 2-1. So let's see. Let's see whether my hope will be stronger than my gut feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the moment, I think we're all maybe a little bit worried about what might happen tomorrow because of the recent performances and the goalkeeping situations. I think we're all worried, and I'm concerned about how that game might go tomorrow. I've just got this feeling that because there is something directly riding on the game, the last 2 games there maybe wasn't so much riding on it, and I think that was maybe why our level drops. I think tomorrow we know how important that game is. We know we cannot lose the game, and I think that we're a better team than Manchester United. I think we are. I think we've shown it over the course of the season, and I think that ultimately that will be enough tomorrow. We'll play at a good level, and I think we'll get the result that we need. I don't think it'll be easy at all, because Man United are a decent team. Like you said, defensively, they're solid. They're not going to be conceding 4 and 5 goals like other teams have that's come to the Emirates in recent months in the league. So it's going to be a very, very difficult game. I just hope that we can just give better protection to Manu, because if it is her that plays, and it seems very likely that she will, the confidence, as we've said, is low, so she needs to be protected. And that defence and maybe the midfield in front, I think that the majority of that game we're going to just have to be maybe a little bit more defensively minded tomorrow than we would normally be, especially at home. I think we like to take the game forward, like you said. We like to have lots of possession, but I think tomorrow we're going to have to be wary of the counter attacks. We're going to have to try to protect our penalty area, defend our penalty area really well, and give Manu better protection than we certainly have done in the last couple of games. And, you know, we only need a draw, but we can't play for a draw, because playing for a draw will mean that you'll lose more than likely, because you can't. You've got to play to win. You have to. So we have to treat the game as though we need to win. And I think we'll be up for this game. I think the last 2 games aren't a reflection of where we currently are. I think that there was different circumstances there, but it's a great opportunity, isn't it? Like you said, a big crowd at the Emirates. Last game of the season at home, the last game before the Champions League final. You know, I'm sure the crowd are going to give the team a great send-off for the final. But the important thing is that we've got to get the result, because, like you said, if we lose that game, that'll be 3 league defeats in a row. It'd actually be 4 defeats in 5 games, because we lost to Lyon at home before. we beat Lyon. So, you know, Lyon will be the only game we've won in our last 5 games if we did lose tomorrow. So it doesn't bear thinking about that. I can't imagine us losing. I just can't think in my head that we'll lose. But of course, it's possible because Man United are capable of doing it. There's no doubt. India Mastiff says we need some characters in this team, players who battle and shout at each other. Yeah, no, I mean, we've got some of them, but we could do with some more, of course. Ryan says, who do I want to join Bon Matty before she gets too old? Well, that's a dream, isn't it? I don't think that's quite realistic. Greg says Williams is still one of the best central defenders in the world. Absolutely, I agree with that. I think we all do. 110 volts says need cover for Foxy. Yeah, we probably do. Yeah. George says coffee to United is done. Is it? Okay. Well, maybe I've not heard necessarily, but maybe you know more than we do, and that'll be fine. India Mastiff says, imagine having 2 Foxes each side, left and right. Well, I mean, I suppose technically, if Jenna Nicewonger can get her act together, maybe we will have. LG says, Sam, a coffee is 26. Is she 26? Is she? Okay. El Loco says, whatever business we do in the summer, we must get a better goalkeeper and send Zinsberg on away. Yeah, I think we all know that. It's scandalous she's Arsenal's number. So, yeah, but if she's got to play tomorrow, we need to get behind her and cheer her and give her a good send-off if that's what it's going to be. 170 Gunner says, Catley's been good. Centre-back is the last position I would upgrade. No, I think Catley's been all right, but her natural position is a left-back. I would rather see a natural centre-back playing at centre-back. And I think there's been 1 or 2 games where her playing at centre-back has maybe cost us a goal here and there, and she's done well. Don't get me wrong, I love Steph Catley, but I don't think that's her best position. So, you know, we've got some other centre backs that haven't been playing. Lotta, of course, is the main one when she's fit. You'd imagine Lotta will play more next season, but let's see. India Mastiff says, let's see after Euros. Yeah, exactly. After the Euros, LG wants Grace Clinton. Well, that would be good as well. Grace Clinton's a very, very good player. I must admit, I do like Grace Clinton. Joe says Emily Fox was a fine signing. She was one of the best that we've made in recent years. Absolutely. India Mastiff says Fox is beautiful. Well, I mean, she's a great player. That's what matters, isn't it? Jules doesn't want Clinton. Oh, okay, I like Grace Clinton. I think she's a great player. Greg says the only players we'd get are on a free or cheap. That's why we get Swedish players. Got money. Well, I don't know. Maybe you're right, actually. George wants Tooney to Arsenal. Well, I don't think that will happen, but he'd be a good player. Nedra says Vicky Palova's out of contract. I think she'll sign a new contract, though. I don't think we're going to lose Vicky. Obviously, she's had a difficult season coming back from injury, but I'm sure she'll be fine. Joe says Mel Frome, second goal. Yeah, we've mentioned her before, but that would be a good signing. Absolutely. We wouldn't mind her at all, would we? She'd put some pressure on Daphne as well, wouldn't she? Joe says, no, not Toon, another overrated player. I don't know. I like Ella Toon. Is she what we need? I'm not sure, but I think she's a good player. Is she overrated? I don't know. I'm not sure she's overrated, but I do quite like her. LG says there's also Andrea Giacinto from Real Sociedad for the DM position. Don't know too much about her, but I'll take your word for that. India Mastiff says if Saliba goes, will women's game get some more cash? Well, no, it'll probably be invested in the men's team, won't it? I would imagine. But anyway, let's see. Vicky says I would take Martinez from West Ham. Absolutely, I would as well. Only half a season and going for golden boot. Yeah, exactly. I would definitely take her. She looks great. She was great against us in the game we played against them. Terry says, I can't wait for Arsenal women to become Herne Bay. They're never going to move to Herne Bay, are they? Let's be honest. No one moves to Herne Bay, do they? Let's be honest. Yeah. Joe says, she's good. Martin, she's brilliant. Yeah, it should be a great signing. Greg says, I don't buy this. One club, then women's team are not getting the investment they deserve. Yeah, no, exactly. Matthew says, hope they sturdy their egg catching game more. Well, yeah, let's see what happens. Indian Massive says, need improvement in atmosphere at Arsenal. I went to the Red Star Belgrade and Liège Warsaw this year. Unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, obviously in other places in Europe, it's different, isn't it? And yeah, maybe you're right. Our atmosphere could do with improving. LG says, Wolves women were told they had no chance to get promoted because no money to take the next level. Yeah, no, I saw about that, yeah. Reading women had to drop down the league because of Reading's financial problems. Crystal Palace women, no money. Yeah, it's a problem, isn't it? Absolutely. It is a problem. We know that, yeah. But anyway, Terry says, and then Bowley sold Huletta Hotel. Jules says, Fiorentino, president of Real Madrid, no investment money in women, have men's team very successful. yeah, Arsenal men's team win nothing. Owners, Arsenal not okay. Well, I think they do care about the women's team, but it's how much money is there to go around. The men's team's always going to take priority, isn't it? I would imagine, but let's hope. Joe says brick the goal up tomorrow. Yeah, I think that might be what we need to do. Brick that goal up. Greg says we'll only win if our back four have the game of their lives, because if it gets past them, it's a definite goal. Yeah, I think we kind of think that's probably true. Indian Mastiff's gone 2-1 to Man U. That's not, we don't want to hear that, do we? United to win, says George as well. Yeah, I don't think anyone will be too surprised. Terry's gone 6-2 to United. At least we've got a positive one here. Tankaka's gone 3-2 to Arsenal. We'll take that, definitely. We've got some final score predictions here. 6-1. No, it's not going to be 6-1 to Arsenal. We'll talk about the final near at the time. Greg's gone 3-1 to Arsenal. That's what we like to see. Lucky says, Man, you don't score goals. They don't score a lot of goals, no, in relation to the league. That's true. Terry says they will against Zins. Well, yeah, maybe. Vicky says, anyone could see we're weak in the transitions in the last two games due to lack of intensity. The crowd will influence that. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I agree with that one. We said that before, the intensity. Greg says, whatever happens, it's going to be sunny, so a good chance of a suntan. Yeah, exactly. Get yourself out in the sun at the Emirates tomorrow. It'll be lovely and warm, I'm sure. That's what we want to see. Donkey says left centre back is a priority. Yeah, but left-footed centre back, I agree. Lucky says Zakira's leaving Chelsea. Maybe we should get her. She's a good keeper. Yeah, she's a good keeper, actually. Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad shout either. Jules just said Fromes as well. Another one for Fromes. We've mentioned Fromes before. Lucky says we should go all out for Olivia Smith. She's only 18, already brilliant, and has more. Yeah, no, we've mentioned her before. Yeah, that she would be a great signing. Lucky says any women's team spends 5 to 10 million, they can build a world class. Absolutely, yeah, because exactly, the players are a lot cheaper to buy, aren't they? Indian Mastiff says, is the new kit out in the shop? Well, it probably will be tomorrow. I don't know, actually. I've not seen anything about a new kit, but I wouldn't be surprised. Last game at the Emirates and all that kind of stuff. I suppose I'm going to have to give my prediction. I'm not confident enough that we'll win. I'd like to think that we'll win, but I'm not confident enough. So I'm going to go for the draw that we need. But yeah, potentially there'll be goals. I think maybe 2-2. And I think we started the season with a 2-2 draw at home to Man City, and we're going to end it with a 2-2 draw at home to Man United, and it'll be enough to get second place. I'll take that. I'll take a draw tomorrow all day long, and I won't be that bothered. Obviously, if we win, it'll be fantastic. I'd like just to see us. I want to see the real Arsenal team turn up with a performance tomorrow, whatever the result at the end of it. The last two games, we want to forget them, and we want to get back to the Arsenal team that we know is in there and has been there most of the season. And I want to see us play like that. If we play like that, we will probably get the result, let's be honest. Terry says, new kit comes out on the 25th. Oh, does it? That'll be before no, that's after the Premier League release, isn't it? Normally it comes out for the last home game, doesn't it? Which is next week against Newcastle. I'm surprised it's not out then, because they'd like to have it in the shop, don't they, for the last home game, and normally wear it, don't they, the team for the last home game. But anyway, maybe they're doing it differently this year. But anyway, so yeah, let's hope and pray that we do get the result we need tomorrow, because it's so important. But yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-2. It'll be exciting, it'll be nervy, but it'll be get the result and we'll all be happy, won't we? LG says Olivia Smith is turning 20. Oh, is she? Okay, she's not 18. Well, yeah, someone put 18 in before, I don't know. Greg says the new kit's already on sale in America. Is it? Terry says Southampton on the 25th. Yeah, but that's away, isn't it? Southampton's away, last game, isn't it? So I can't see him releasing it in the Arsenal shop when the team's away, because no one will be there, will they? Like he says, Andreas, you can tell us that differences between the German league and the WSL. Yeah, I mean, we sort of mentioned this, won't we? I mean, I suppose the crowds will be one of the differences, because you don't get the crowds in Germany. In terms of the football, though, it's what's the obviously you watch a lot of the German league as well, don't you? Is the German league like a slower game? Because obviously WSL is quite fast paced, isn't it? Is German league the same as that, or is it slower?
They always say the German league is more tactical, and it's not so free floating, and maybe that's the reason why people say it's slower. I think it's sometimes it's over tactical. If you see some teams, and about the quality, it's three teams, and then it's a big gap. So it's Bayern Munich, Wolfsburg, and Frankfurt, and both Wolfsburg and Frankfurt are losing a lot of players. Wolfsburg will lose 10 players for the new season, and Frankfurt has announced 6 players are leaving. So it's difficult situation because the salary is not as high as in the WSL, and of course the attendance and interest from supporters from TV stations is not as it is in the WSL. Whether the all over quality, it's difficult to say. Um, you saw we lost 5-2 against Bayern Munich. We beat them 3-2 at home. So it's maybe the top teams are at the equal level. But yeah, the attendance and the interest, public interest is totally different and lower than in the WSL. And WSL is for me more competitive. And I prefer to watch the games in our WSL. So I'm more for voting for the English football.
Yeah, I mean, I think the WSL is, in terms of the depth, the quality in depth, it is better than probably pretty much any other league in Europe. I think, yes, we know the quality of some of the top teams. Barcelona, for example, we're probably going to find out in a couple of weeks' time. And obviously, the top teams in those leagues are probably as good as our top teams, maybe better. But I think the bottom teams in our league are probably stronger than the bottom teams in the German league, in the Spanish league, in the French league, and all that sort of stuff, aren't they? So I think that's maybe the biggest difference is the depth. And and like you said, the interest as well. I mean, obviously the crowds that we get now, and I think on the back of the Euros, really, we hosted the competition, we won it, and there's a massive buzz over women's football since then in this country, and obviously elsewhere in Europe they don't have that same feeling for it that we have in this country due to that. Maybe it'll change in different tournaments that come around, but yeah, I think at the minute I do think that the WSL is the best league to watch. I don't watch a lot of other leagues. I watch the Champions League and stuff like that, and you see some great individual teams, but you look at their league tables, look at the results they get. A lot of them leagues are still getting the 8-0s on a regular basis, aren't they, in games like that? And that's, to me, that shows the quality of the league. Yeah, we get the odd one in the WSL. Chelsea beat Crystal Palace 7-0 or something, didn't they? But we're winning a lot of games 5-0 and stuff at home, but you don't get those really one-sided games very often in the WSL anymore, do you, like you used to? And you still get them in other leagues in Europe, and I think that tells the story, really. Ryan says there maybe they don't advertise the football in Germany as much. Yeah, I don't know. Is it? No, yeah. So that, it's all to do with what I think in England, since the Euros in particular, we've really pushed it because we know how popular that competition was, and we've built on the back of that, maybe, which has been great. We've done a good job in this country, haven't we? And maybe other leagues in Europe will slowly start to do the same and catch up, and we'll see a difference maybe in the German league in terms of interest over the next few years. Maybe it needs a German team to win the Champions League or something like that again, and stuff like that might need to happen. Or Germany win the Euros maybe in the summer, and that might get the interest back. Who knows? But we're doing okay in this country at the minute. Overall, we're doing a good job with it, and let's hope that can continue, because it's been great the last few years, in particular the growth here, and yeah, we're enjoying it, aren't we? Just before we go, I just want to have a quick, obviously it is the end of the WSL season tomorrow. It's all finishing, the last game, and it's been quite a up and down season for us overall. We had a really bad start, as we know. We made the change of manager, and then we had a great run in the middle, which almost thought we might have been able to pull off something special. In the end, we've come up short. It looked as though our only 2 league defeats were going to be against Chelsea until the last 2 games, and kind of spoiled that. But I think there's been some progress in the WSL this season compared to the last 2 years. If we do the job tomorrow, finish second, clearly that's progress from finishing third, I suppose. Not a great deal, not as much as we want. But just before we go, I just want to look at maybe our personal highs of the WSL. Only the WSL. We know obviously the highs of the Champions League mainly this season, but in the WSL, it hasn't been a bad season, but there has been some highs and lows. So let's just have a quick little look at those before we finish. I mean, Andreas, obviously you've been to a lot of the games this season, especially the home games. You've been to most of them. What highlights in the WSL only has been for you? What's been your highlight of the WSL season?
Oh, that's so difficult to say. We had a lot of good performances at home. Uh, Scored a lot of goals against Brighton, against Villa, Tottenham. Uh, this remarkable comeback against West Ham. Uh, maybe maybe the highlight was not a home game, but the 4-3 win away at City. Uh,
Yes.
it was in a difficult situation and a very important win. I think if we if we lost away at City, then maybe we wouldn't fight for second place tomorrow, but we would fight to get into maybe third place. And so
Yeah,
this
yeah.
this was and away at a very strong team. This was one of the highlights for Arsenal in this WSL season. So I'd say the 4-3 in Manchester. Yes.
No, that was a very, very good victory and an important victory as well. Yeah,
Mm.
and the way that we started that game, 2 goals in the first 10 minutes, whatever
Yeah.
it was fantastic. And yeah, okay, we had a few problems later on to hang on, but we got the win, and that was a really, really important win, and that was a great performance away from home as well. So yeah, I mean. For me, I mean, a lot of those games at the Emirates, you know, I thought beating Liverpool 4-0 after the problems we'd had
Yeah.
against Liverpool before, that was a real good, strong performance. But I don't think really, I can't look from the whole league campaign. I don't think I can look much further than the West Ham game, you know, to come back in the way that we did and to win that game, you know, scored all those 3 goals in 10 minutes, whatever it was in the second half, was just amazing, incredible performance. And, you know, it was a shock. We were losing the game 3-1. And it's like, wow, what's happened here? But to come back and win that game, I thought that was such a great character from the team, you know, and that was probably, yeah, the Man City game, it was a good one as well. But yeah, that probably for me was the standout game of the season in the league. I think just the way that we came back and how exciting that second half was. You know, that game finished and it was like it was buzzing for ages afterwards. It was so exciting and it was great. That was for me. That was probably my highlight of the league season. India Massi's gone Real Madrid. Yeah, Real Madrid was great, but it wasn't in the WSL, was it?
Yeah.
We're meeting in. I think everyone will probably be in the Tollington tomorrow. There's a few pubs, isn't there? The Tollington's always a good one. You've got the one at Finsbury Park as well, haven't you? Is it the Coronet? That's always quite popular as well. Spurs away, yeah, that Spurs away was good, scoring in the first 10 seconds, whatever it was. And that game was a good one as well, wasn't it? Spurs away, but Spurs at home was good as well, 5-0. That was some great goals in that game as well, wasn't there? There's been a lot of good performances in the league, but obviously not quite as many as we needed. Greg says the high is we're still by far the best supported team in the league. Well, yeah, absolutely, we are. Incredible that we are. Terry says my highlight of the season was Greg becoming a TV star. That was a highlight. Yeah, actually, you're right. That probably is a highlight of the season. Actually, yeah, I think Greg and Gunnosaurus actually have probably been the highlights of the season. Indians Mastiff says there are too many little kids asking for sure. Well, that's probably the downside. Yeah, Ryan says best supported team, exactly. So yeah, I'm going to go for West Ham as my high of the league season. Obviously, Andreas is going for Man City. What about your low? What has been your low of the league season?
Very spontaneous, I would say the 0-0 draw at home against Everton. This was nothing. And I remember sitting at the Emirates and I said to my neighbor, we are playing shit. Sorry for the word, but
yeah, well, you're right. We did that game.
It was. I think we could have played 3 or 5 hours and wouldn't have scored in this game. It was absolutely the worst performance of the season, and yeah, I think we all expected that's the problem. We all expected to beat a team like Everton at home, and then not being able to score or not being dangerous enough. And it was at halftime you could say this will be a 0-0 game. It was such a bad performance, so this is my personal low.
Yeah, that was a really, really bad one. And I think, at that point, I think we'd already drawn with Man City. We'd struggled to beat Leicester. We were issues. We'd lost to Hacken in the Champions League. I know we turned that one around, and we hadn't had a great start to the season. But I think my low was probably the defeat away at Chelsea, because we didn't deserve to lose that game, really. I thought we played pretty well. And obviously the manner that we lost it with the penalty and, Katie's red card and stuff. And we, had we won that game, the league title would have been a lot closer in the end, wouldn't it? So that one game for me was so disappointing and so frustrating, because we didn't get from that game what we deserved. Well, did we deserve to win? I don't know. It was a tight game. We definitely didn't deserve to lose. And obviously losing that game meant the league title was effectively over, wasn't it, at that point? And it was the first league defeat that Rene had suffered as well. We had been on a great run of form, and that was just so disappointing, really. But that would probably be my low. Ryan says, low, how far off Chelsea we end up. Yeah, I mean, how far we've ended up isn't necessarily a fair reflection, because a couple of weeks ago we were 3 points behind them, wasn't we? So yes, that they've won the league, and it's all changed quite quickly because of our 2 defeats. But how far we've ended up behind them isn't really a fair reflection of the season as a whole. But that one game, that's what made the difference, that defeat away, because if we'd drawn that game, it would have kept us in touch. And, they went on to drop a few points later on, a few draws here and there, and we would have closed that gap, and it would have been a bit more interesting, wouldn't it? But losing that game finished it all. And yeah, that was probably my low point. Terry says getting smashed by Villa and Brighton. Well, yeah, they were low points as well. But I think in the circumstance of it all, the league had pretty much gone anyway. The context of those games wasn't quite so important. So I don't really mind. Greg says the low is the last 2 games. Yeah, I can understand you thinking that, because they were terrible, absolutely terrible. But I think in the overall scheme of the season, Vicky says low if Chelsea go unbeaten. Yeah, that won't be good, will it? Let's hope that they can lose. They can lose tomorrow. It seems unlikely. Liverpool, yeah, we need Liverpool to win. Greg says also a low is poor referees. Yeah, but that's been the low for a while, hasn't it? I don't think that's just this season. So I don't know. But anyway, let's see. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's not been a bad WSL campaign. I think at the start of the season, yes, we hope we could win the league, but if we do finish second tomorrow, where we were when Rene took over, down in 6th place or wherever we were, I think we'd have to be reasonable. Well, we'd have to be very happy, I think, with the way the seasons would have finished. But if we do lose tomorrow and we finish 3rd, to me, that's not good enough. It's a disappointment. But if we win the Champions League, no one's going to care, let's be honest. No one's going to care if we lose tomorrow or not. But we need to beat Barcelona if we do lose tomorrow, so there's more pressure there. Greg says, if we want to improve women's football, the standard of referees has got to improve. Oh, you're right, absolutely, 100%. I totally agree with you. The standard of refereeing is terrible, but it's been terrible before, and last season and the season before. But there you go. Greg says, another low is not getting salty. Well, yes, I know, but, we've got Rene, and she's done all right, hasn't she? So it's been a long WSL season. It's all over tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to enjoy finishing second and the extra benefits that brings. And of course, we can then put our feet up for 2 weeks and look forward to the Champions League final that's coming up at the end of the month, or 24th of May. That is going to be something special as well. So of course, I'll be here tomorrow for the game. Kicks off at 12:30, so I'll be about 12:15 for that one. So join me for that, because it is going to be good. Can we get that point at least that we need? Well, let's hope so. It's going to be exciting. Obviously, Andreas is going to be in the stadium, so I'm assuming you'll be doing a vlog for us for that game as well. It's going to be a good look forward to that. Well, you probably see Greg, won't you, again, because he's the star of the show at the minute.
Yeah, I heard that Greg has more fans and supporters than Gunnosaurus, so I would prefer to look for Greg and get his statement. And after the game, I'm going to meet Eng in front of the media center, and maybe Amar will be there too. He said that he will come to the media center, so maybe 2 more interviews then after the game. Yeah, yeah. Watch out for the blog.
No, it's going to be good. I mean, the vlogs this season have been fantastic, actually. There's been so many that Andreas has done for us, and they've all been fantastic. They've had some great moments in there. Obviously, Gunnosaurus, Greg, loads of other stuff's gone on, and it's just been great. And hopefully we'll get the result tomorrow as well, which will make it even better. I have noticed, actually, when Arsenal win, the vlog gets more views than when Arsenal lose, generally. So let's hope that they win so more people can watch it, because it deserves more people to watch them because they're fantastic. And so that's going to be good. So that we'll probably get up on a channel for it at some point on Sunday, I would have thought. So look out for that, because that's going to be good. Of course, Sunday the men are playing Liverpool. I don't know if I'll do the game yet. I'll see how I feel. I might do. And of course, we'll be building up towards the Champions League final. Wow, that is so exciting. Can't wait for that. We're going to have a big show for that as well in the week leading up to the Champions League final. We'll have to see when everyone's available, and we'll pick a night to do it in that week coming up to the final, because that's going to be good. Also, I know Andreas will be flying over to Lisbon at some point, so we'll have to fit it in around all of that. But we'll get it done for you. We'll have a big show to look forward to that final, because it's going to be great, and it's going to be a great way to finish the season, isn't it? Let's hope we finish in the right way. Let's get the result tomorrow first. Let's get that out of the way, tick off the WSL box. We've done that job, and then we can all relax and enjoy the build up to what is going to be the biggest. I actually think that, I know we've won the previous European Champions League in its previous form, but I think this game on the 24th is the biggest game in Arsenal women's football history to date. I think it's the biggest game we've had, because the way the competition is now with the group stage, and we've got through the qualifiers as well. But just the fact that the Champions League final now is a totally different to what it was when we won it before. So I think this is the biggest game ever in the history of Arsenal women. It really is. And let's hope we could actually get that result. Wouldn't that be great? Just before we finish, we didn't mention it before, actually. It was announced today, wasn't it? Leslie Russo's won the WSL Player of the Year. The Players Player of the Year, hasn't she? Which, it's great that an Arsenal player, despite the fact that we're not winning the league, for an Arsenal player to win that individual award is quite impressive, to be fair. And I think obviously Leslie's had a great. I'm surprised Mariona didn't win it, if I'm honest. I think she's been the best player in the WSL this season, but obviously Leslie's got the goals, and she's a very popular player as well. Was you surprised that Leslie Russo won the Player of the Season?
Not really surprised, because in these elections or awards, it's always goals that count. And Leslie is currently leading for the Golden Boot together with Bunny Shaw, I think, but she has more assists. So, the player who scores the most goals wins the awards. And I think, if I read correctly, Bunny Shaw is second and Mariona third. So, this shows goal scorer was first, and then midfielders or players. Defenders have no chance. So, I agree with you. If you ask who was the Arsenal player of the season, and why was it Mariona? So of course she's the best, and maybe she's the best player in the WSL. But hopefully Leslie scored the most goals in the WSL, so of course she won the award. And besides everything, she's a fantastic player, and she had a great season with a bad start as the whole team, a bad start with low confidence, and then she developed and was so important, and she scored the important goals. That's also a fact against Madrid or in Lyon. She scored one, and so it's deserved for her. If you count. Or if you say goals count most, then it's deserved for her. And it's great to see her development. When she came, she was very highly rated, and we expected a lot. She had a difficult first season, good first season, but not the best. And now she has really developed, and I think we are very happy to have her, and happy for her to win this award.
Absolutely, I mean, I say it's great for an Arsenal player. Whichever Arsenal player was to win it, it's great that an Arsenal player wins Player of the Season in a season that we haven't won the league, which I find quite strange. Usually, it's a player from the champions that wins it, and does that tend to suggest, though, that Chelsea are more of a team effort than an individual? They don't have one individual outstanding player this season. They probably haven't. They don't have one of the top scorers in the league. They've been more of a team. And that's what's won them the league. That's why they've had the success that they've had. Whereas maybe Arsenal haven't quite been as good as a team as Chelsea have been, obviously, because they've won the league. But we've had maybe one or two more outstanding individual performances through the season. And maybe that's why one of our players has won it. And I was quite surprised that that Leslie won it. If I'm honest, not because she hasn't had a great season, but because she has. She's got a lot of goals. She's had a great season. I just feel that Mariona, she's been the best player I've seen this season. Anyway, I think she's been fantastic. But maybe her time will come next year. Maybe she'll win it next year when we win the league and everything else. Maybe that's what it's about. I don't know. Vicky P says no Chelsea players love that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no Chelsea, but in the top three, no Chelsea players even the top. And they've won the league. That's incredible, isn't it? Yeah. Not one Chelsea player in the top three, and they've just won the league without losing a game. I mean, wow, it seems incredible, really, doesn't it? Greg says, I heard it, Leslie got it for a Champions League. Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, we're in a Champions League final. Maybe that's why we've got, maybe that's why we've won it. I don't know. But anyway, it's great to see Leslie winning it, and congratulations to her. Ryan says, yes, Russo's great. Yeah, she is great. Absolutely, she's great. Lucky says, Sandy Baltimore has been good, though. Yeah, no, she has been good as well. Yeah, but I don't think Chelsea have had... every time I've watched Chelsea, I've looked at it, there's not one player that's playing well in every game that stands out. They're a good team. They work together as a team well, and maybe that's why they haven't done it. I don't know. India Mastiff says, be nice to get a player on your show after. Well, it would be nice, yeah. If you know anyone that can come on, let us get Leslie on. That'd be good, wouldn't it? We can give her a little trophy for winning player of the season. Vicky says, Chelsea are boring to watch. Yeah, they are, yeah. Ryan says, yeah, a player. Yeah, we'll get a player on it. Who should we get on? Should we get Mariona on? That'd be good, wouldn't it? I don't know how we can make it work. Anyway, so he says, yeah, I agree. Veggie and Margaret by Mile. Yeah, absolutely. I think she's been outstanding. But anyway, Leslie's won it, and congratulations to her. She's had a great season. We love her. And hopefully she'll score a couple of goals tomorrow against her former club to make sure that we get that second place and seal that job, and she gets the golden boot, and it's happy days for her. Everybody will have a big celebration. So that is the Arsenal Women's Show, the last one of the WSL season. We've still got a couple of shows left for you. We're going to be doing the big Champions League preview show, and then of course once the Champions League's out of the way, we'll do a whole season review show looking back on the season. Hopefully a season where we're the champions of Europe. Imagine the show we could do if we've won the Champions. Imagine what that'll be like. Even if we lose, come on, it's been a great season. It's been a season of progress, and it's going to be good. So we've got those couple of shows for you before the end of the season. It's going to be good. So stay with us. I'll be here tomorrow, of course, for the game. That's going to be a tense afternoon, I feel. It's going to be quite tense, but we'll get the job done, I'm sure. And Andreas's vlog will be coming as well soon. Thank you for all you guys for watching, as always. Thanks for all your comments. So many comments again. Fantastic. Struggle sometimes to get through them all, but I'll try to get through as many as I can. So thanks to you guys for watching. Obviously, thanks to Andreas live from London in your. It's not a hotel you're in this time. It's an Airbnb, isn't it?
Yeah. This time it's Airbnb in Brent Cross, a bit outside, but yeah. So far, I feel home here, and it gives me the feeling of being like a local resident. Not in a hotel, just on my own and organizing everything, and so far it's okay. And the Wi-Fi was very strong, so credits to the Airbnb.
To be honest with you, we always stay in Airbnbs when we go away. I like the fact that you've got more freedom, haven't you? You can come and go as you please. You're not restricted to when you can have breakfast or when you can have dinner. You can do whatever you want, and I kind of like that. Yeah, you've got to maybe cook for yourself or get a takeaway, whatever it might be. But I actually prefer Airbnbs. I love them. So I think it's the best way. It's the best way to see the world is through Airbnb. But anyway, if they want to pay me actually to sponsor the channel, then that's fine, because I've done enough stuff on Airbnbs that we've been at. So India Massive says, thanks to Andreas. Yeah, absolutely. Terry says, Richard, tell the chat to hit the like and subscribe. Yeah, please hit the like and subscribe before you go. Absolutely. Because that's important. Greg says, great night, great show. This is definitely the highlight of the season. Well, no, I think you're going to win highlight of the season, Greg, for your appearances on the vlog. But we'll come. The show will come second, and you'll come first for your appearances on. And hopefully, it'll be a really good one on tomorrow as well. We look forward to that. So obviously, thanks to Andreas all the way live from Brent Cross just outside London, which is good, from his Airbnb. There's a nice little decoration on the wall. But is that like a bit of what's that on the wall behind you? It's been fascinating me all the way through. Actually, is it like a bit of wallpaper?
Yeah, it's just a wallpaper. I have no influence on that. But
it looks cool.
Yeah, it looks better than some decoration in hotels, and so yeah.
Yeah, it looks quite. I like that. It looks cool. Terry says, Greg, when's the sign? Yeah, exactly. We'll have to get some signed merch, won't we? Greg will have to get a T-shirt with It's Greg from the vlog or something on the thing. That'd be good, won't it? You could just wear it everywhere you go. It'd be brilliant. You'd be signing autographs and stuff like that. That's what we need to do. That would be good. But anyway, if you are at the game, of course, tomorrow, and you do see Andreas, or you do see Greg, or you see anybody that's been on the show, do say hello, because I'm sure it'll be nice to meet you. So that'll be good. And I say I'll be here for those who can't be at the game to give you the coverage that we normally do, and hopefully we'll end the season in the right way. Forget Villa, forget Brighton. They're just mistakes, so that we forget them. That's done. Let's focus on tomorrow, getting the right performance, the right result. And hopefully, and go into that Champions League final on a big high, having done the job that we needed to do and got that second place. It's not always, we want to be first, not second, but I'd rather be second than third, let's be honest. Greg says, I'll get it printed. Yeah, get it printed in the summer, and then you'd be able to wear it on holiday and stuff like that. That'd be great. So there we go. So thanks to all you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I say like and subscribe as always. And I say thank you for all the comments and stuff like that. Brilliant. Look out for the vlog probably out on Sunday, maybe even Saturday night if I get time. It might be Saturday night or Sunday. It depends when I get all the clips through from Andreas, actually, and when I can put it all together. So look out for that, because it's going to be good, of course. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Starts now, guys. The weekend starts. It's going to be sunny. The weather's nice. Arsenal are going to get the result tomorrow. It's going to be a great weekend, isn't it? It's going to be a great weekend. So enjoy whatever it is you're doing. And I will see you for the game tomorrow. Don't forget to say hello to the guys in the ground if you see them tomorrow around the Emirates, because why not? Thanks to you guys. Thanks to Andreas. We will see you tomorrow. Take it easy, guys. Come on, you Gunners. Let's do it. Come on. Let's finish the season properly. Let's get it done. Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Bye.
Come on.